Good morning, students. Again, I welcome you all for the credit second where we are going to concentrate on the concepts like gene, allele, pseudo-allele, and multiple alleles. Along with this complementation test, also we are going to discuss in detail. First, let's know what is gene. Gene is a section of DNA that determines certain traits or the characteristics. As we know, genome is a whole set of gene or DNA. But the gene is a section of DNA. And this gene, it encodes the protein and that influence the things like immunity system, skin pigmentation is there, hormone production, eye color, hair color is there, height is there, and these characters are inherited from offsprings to the parents. That's why they are passed down from one generation to the next. Examples like hair color and eye color are taken to be consideration. Then, what is allele? Here, allele is a version of same gene. Remember that it is a version of a same gene. Whenever gene undergo mutation, it can take multiple forms and they form slightly different sequence of their base DNA. So individual human being have two alleles on versions of every gene because of a diploid organism. As we are getting one component or one component of the gene from our father and one from our mother. Obviously, if there are greater number of potential alleles, more will be the diversity. And this is no two people are exactly alike. Even we are not exactly carbon copy of our parents. And incredible number of genes and gene forms under human genetic diversity. And these gene variants still code for the same trait. For example, hair color, if it is a trait, again this trait is expressed with different shades. For example, hair color, when we are considering, some are having brown color or some are having black color or different shades of that color. So this is about the allele, which is a version of a gene. Here one figure is there to go in detail about the gene. So here the four different alleles that exist for the rabbit coat color C gene. So here first one, that is a wild type brown colored fur, that is with C. Then chinchilla, that is black tipped white fur, it is for C, having CH allele. Third one, that is a Himalayan white fur with black paws, nose, ears and tails, that is with recessive C. And albino white fur, it is for again recessive character. Here it is in short about the difference between gene and allele. Gene is a section of DNA. Already in first slide we have gone through it, and that encodes a certain trait. On the contrary, allele is variant form of gene. Gene carries or that determines the individual trait, but allele contributes diversity. And that is why gene is a genotypic character and allele is a phenotypic character. There are number of genes when we are considering with respect to gene and allele. Gene is with only one locus and allele is with two number of genes per locus. Gene is with various types like allele, as this is the part of different versions of the alleles, sorry, gene. And allele, again, it is with various types like paternal as well as the maternal, or it may be dominant or the recessive. Already we have gone through the examples like eye color, hair color, then skin pigmentation. When we are considering eye color as a gene, then allele will be a blue eye or brown eyes. When we are considering hair color, it may be a brown hair or black hairs. And if we consider the skin pigmentation, dark skin color is there, then fair skin color is there. Then when we know what are alleles, again they are having different forms like pseudo-alleles. They are again with same same or related function and acts as a single gene. So two genes with similar functions are located so close. Remember, they located so close one another and always inherited together on a chromosome, and that's why they are genetically linked. In rare cases, they are separated or recombined. Many of the times, gene duplication events undergo gene evolution and that develops into the new functions. These are closely linked alleles within which crossing over occur. And that's why these pseudo-alleles, they affect the same character because they are having related function. So now it is clear up to the pseudo-alleles. And next part, that is the multiple alleles. Obviously multiple alleles. So gene mutation will form different alleles of a gene, and such alternative forms of a gene whose number is more than 2, they are the multiple alleles. Obviously, they occupy the same locus of chromosome and influences same character. Here, no crossing over is observed among the members of these multiple alleles. Here are the few examples like wings of Drosophila, coat color in rabbit, self-incompatibility in plants, and blood group in man. Then the last part of this topic is complementation test. This is also called as a cis-trans test, and this is useful to determine whether the two mutations associated with specific phenotypic represent two different forms of the same gene. Obviously, they are the alleles and variations of two different genes. And this complementation test is relevant to the recessive traits. We are familiar with the monohybrid as well as the dihybrid cross, where dominant characters are expressed into the next generation. Here in complementation test, when two parent organisms each carries two mutant gene in homozygous recessive state, that's why it causes recessive traits are to be expressed. And this test is useful to determine either the recessive trait is expressed in the next generation or not. Here, with the help of the color formation pigment, if colorless compound, it is with gene A and again it is with the gene B. If the dominant gene is expressed, obviously the purple pigment is formed in the flower color, and if the gene B, it is not present, then there is no pigmentation. So you can observe here again in the third figure, where the first pair of allele, it is with recessive and second it is with dominant. So gene B, when it is present, alone it is present, again there is no pigmentation. But when both of they are present, there is a pigmentation. This is another diagram that gives you idea about the cis and trans configuration, why the another name for this test is given. If M1 and M2 are the two separate recessive mutations and they combinedly result into the uncoordinated behavior. Here M1 and the M2, when they undergo uncoordinated behavior, when they act as a two separate recessive mutation, obviously the uncoordinated behavior. But if they are as a part of M1 and M2 at different steps, then they gives rise to another, that is a wild type behavior. Okay, and if both these mutations are present on the trans configuration, first figure it is about the cis configuration, first figure it is about the trans configuration, where M1 is denoted by a yellow color and M2 is denoted by something violet tinge, and an uncoordinated behavior is observed. Here M1 and M2, when they are uncoordinated behavior, these mutations do not complement each other and are alleles of the same gene. On the contrary, in last figure, if there is a trans configuration that results into the wild type behavior, when these two mutations do complement each other and are alleles of different gene. Okay, so again go for the first figure where you can get the clear idea about uncoordinated behavior, where they are alleles of the same gene, and in wild type behavior they are the alleles of different genes. That is why this is again a cis trans configuration. This is the third example of the red eye color. I have given the example of this pseudo-alleles with respect to this eye color in Drosophila, where true strains of flies are white-eyed because of two different autosomal recessive mutations. And there is absence of pigmentation. But flies from strain 1 have complementary mutation to the flies from the strain 2, because when they are crossed, the offsprings are able to complete full metabolic pathway, and that results into the red-eyed Drosophila. I think up to this you are, or your idea is clear about the complementation trait. It is basically related to the expression of recessive traits. So with this, the topic where we have considered the gene and version of a gene, that is allele, its different types like pseudo-alleles and multiple alleles, along with this complementation test for expression of recessive traits, we have considered in detail. This is all about the topic of the today's lecture. With this, I'm going to stop. Thank you. Thank you all.